Thank you for watching Roo TV.
Happy New Year, Roos, and welcome back to Roo TV. I'm Marissa Leggio.
And I'm Grace Kertz. Student Elizabeth Watsky recently expressed that there aren't sufficient study spaces at UMKC. This may come as a shock as the university has a spacious library in addition to other study spaces, from the student union to areas in the dorms. Stay tuned to hear why Elizabeth's complaint extends beyond the existing spaces.
College students around the country have been living in fear the past few months over the 4 University of Idaho students who were brutally murdered in their home on the night of November 12th. A little over a month later, on Friday, December 30th, 28-year-old Brian Koberger was arrested for 4 counts of first-degree murder. The family of Kaylee Consalves says that they are happy, relieved, and thankful that there's been an arrest.
Extreme weather caused Southwest Airlines to cancel over 70% of their flights through Kansas City the Tuesday before Christmas. Southwest argued these decisions were made with optimal passenger safety in mind. However, people complained of issues including that they drove hours to arrive at the airport greeted by a canceled flight, they couldn't see family and school starting would further limit their stay with relatives, Christmas gifts were lost in Southwest luggage, and the phone hold to reschedule a flight lasted hours. Many people have disclosed that they won't be traveling Southwest again. The Department of Transportation announced it will investigate if the cancellations were controllable and if the airline is complying with its customer service plan.
Police are currently investigating a shooting that happened at Elite Funeral Home near Blue Ridge Boulevard and Longview Road last Friday morning. When police arrived at the scene, they found 3 individuals shot. One was inside the funeral home, one outside, and one inside the laundromat next door. All 3 were taken to a nearby hospital, and 2 of the victims are in critical condition. Based on early investigation, KCPD believes that there was some type of dispute or altercation between people at the funeral.
Now let's throw it over to sports and lifestyle and culture.
Welcome back into the den. I'm Jackson Ogden. It's been a long time since we last chatted, so let me get you caught up on sports here around UMKC. Our women's basketball team currently sits at 6-14 overall and 2-7 in conference play to this point. While there has been no shortage of adversity for this squad, several players such as Elise Stafford, Tamaya Ugas, and others have stepped up and been leaders for the Roos during a season that has seen a handful of players miss time. They've got action at Denver and Omaha this week. The UMKC men's team currently sits at 8-14 and 4-4 in conference. Key veteran leaders such as Shamari Allen, Raquandis Mitchell, have been huge for the Roos in scoring, and freshman Jeff Ngandu has been a menace defensively. They've got action at home this week against Omaha on Thursday and Denver on Saturday. On to national news, the Chiefs are back in the AFC Championship game for a 5th consecutive year and are set for a rematch against the Bengals. As you may recall, the Bengals came into Kansas City and beat this Chiefs in the same spot last year, and Joe Burrow is currently 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes all time. The health of Mahomes is going to be the storyline throughout the week, as early in the game against the Jaguars, his ankle got landed on in a scary way. It's going to take a lot more than a high ankle sprain to knock Mahomes out of this big of a game, however. He knows better than anyone that the Bengals have his number, and he is ready to flip the script in the biggest game of the season. This one is going to be very tough, and I think the Bengals' explosive offense will make for a challenging battle, but I think the Chiefs avenged last year and beat the Bengals 24-23. Fingers crossed. As for the NFC side, I've got the 49ers going into Philly and upsetting the Birds to advance to the Super Bowl for a rematch with the Chiefs. That's all I've got for you this week. As always, go Royals, go Chiefs, and Roo up!
Welcome back to Arts Entertainment. I'm your host, Joshua Cunningham, and today I'm going to be doing an album review over Mansion Music by Trippie Redd. And guys, you know I love Trippie Redd, so I'm going to be honest, though. This album was very disappointing to me. There's a few reasons why it was disappointing, and I'm just going to start off with the length of it. It was way too long. It was 25 songs, and although this isn't like the first time Trippie Redd's had a very long album, this album just wasn't as good as the other ones, so it already drops it down a few pegs. I mean, it was very similar beat the whole time, and you can't do that when it's a 25-song album. And also, Trippie Redd ventured out a lot with his style, and personally, I love melodic rap. That's why I first fell in love with Trippie Redd and X and Juice WRLD. And my favorite version of Trippie Redd was when he was writing A Love Letter to You 3. That's my favorite album by him. Life's a Trip, or even A Love Letter to You 4. But he ventured out a lot on this album, trying to make hype music, and I think it was just a little too far. And although it is hype, you know, it's great music to listen to while you're working out, it's just not stuff that I would listen to on a regular basis. I'll probably continue just listening to A Love Letter to You 3 and those albums. But besides that, I will give you guys some of the best songs on that album, in my opinion. Colors with Kodak Black, I thought was good. It was more chill. Kodak Black is a funny feature to have always. But I like that album. Van Hazeling was good. That one was just Trippie Redd, which I liked. He had so many features on this album, so having a song that was just him was good because that's what I came for, just to listen to Trippie Redd, you know what I mean? So that was a good one. Biggest Bird was also good. That one was a little more chill as well, which I like. Crazy Train with Travis Scott, although it was probably disappointing for a lot of people, it was still one of the better songs on the album, so it's on this list. And then Nightcrawler with Juice WRLD. We all know Trippie Redd and Juice WRLD are like one of the best duos in the rap game right now, at least in my opinion. But overall, if I were to give this album a rating, I'd probably bump it up a little bit just because I like Trippie Redd, but I'd say 6.5. But I think for the regular person, they're probably giving it like a 5 to a 7. I saw someone else rate it even a 4, which is just so disappointing to me because, you know, I love Trippie Redd. Some of his albums are some of my favorite albums ever, but I'm just going to wait for A Love Letter to You 5 to come out because whenever he drops a Love Letter to You album, it's always a banger, and I have a feeling that A Love Letter to You 5 will be his best album yet. So just come back when that album comes out and I can give a great rating so that you don't have to listen to this, you know, sad rating of a Trippie Redd album. But that's all I have time for today. If you want to hear more about my opinions on music, follow me at Instagram, on my Instagram, at Mr.Cunning123. And then come back next week to hear more of my opinions on Roos TV.
Hi, I'm Cristian Martinez, and thank you for joining me in the Pop Culture Minute. Let's get this thing started. A live-action Hot Wheels movie is moving forward at Warner Brothers, with Dalton Lieb and Nicholas Jacobson Larson set to write the script according to Deadline. Harley Quinn, a very problematic Valentine's Day special, will release on February 9th on HBO Max. Maya Hawke has been cast as Flannery O'Connor in a biopic film, Wildcat, directed by Ethan Hawke. Vincent D'Onofrio will also star. A Wallace and Gromit escape room, A Grand Way Out, will be opening in Bristol later this year. The escape room will follow participants as they use the Memory-O-Matic helmet to help Wallace remember the code to his workshop before he has to show off his new invention. And finally, Ben Affleck's Air will release on April 5th in theaters. This film follows Nike's efforts to sign Michael Jordan to a shoe contract, starring Matt Damon and Ben Affleck as Sonny Vaccaro and Phil Knight. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Despite study spaces on campus, for a music major such as Elizabeth Wadsky, there are not adequate places to work on music. Students have complained about distractions in the Performing Arts Center due to the practice room's thin walls. Broken pianos and aged technology also hinder their productivity. A broken air conditioning unit yields temperatures too cold for instruments and voices to produce good sound. Renovations to these units were claimed to occur this past summer, but are now projected for summer 2023.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Roos TV. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at RooNewsUMKC.
See you next week.